many external pressures can put a strain on a marriage. Financial stress, illness, children, even politics. But few would expect conspiracy theories to be one of them. And for one couple, that's exactly what's happening. After the murder of Charlie Kirk, a number of conspiracy theories devoid of fact spread quickly. Not simple questions about what happened or gaps that would likely be filled at trial. Some claimed his death was a coordinated assassination by his wife and close friends at Turning Point USA, while others blamed Israel. So one troubled man arguing with his wife over who really killed Kirk sought help from a fellow man of faith and former mentor to Kirk, Frank Turek. Turek himself has been accused of being involved in Kirk's death simply because he was by his side at the Utah Valley University event when he was killed. Now he's helping others who feel the weight of the world crashing down around them by leading with patience, wisdom, and of course, faith. Joining now is cross-examined radio host Frank Turek. Frank, great to see you. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Just first, how are you? I mean, we had the preliminary hearing just a couple of weeks ago. You've been through so much over the course of the past 10 months. Just how are you doing as a human being, not to mention someone who was there next to Charlie that day?
Well, I've had a lot of people praying, but I'm more concerned about Erica. You know that, Katie, those 5 days in Utah, I was out there for a couple of those days, was literal hell for Erica. You know, she had to leave the room several times because of the graphic nature of the testimony. I mean, she's holding up well, but it's so difficult. And not only that, there's so much nonsense floating around. As you just said, these conspiracy theories are devoid of fact. Did you notice that the defense didn't bring up anything about Egyptian planes, or they're not denying Tyler Robinson was there? They're not saying he was a patsy. His parents, if he wasn't involved in this, never would have turned him in. He wouldn't have turned himself in. He's confessed 3 different ways. And yet there are people out there saying that this was a complete conspiracy theory. It makes no sense at all.
So, Frank, as someone who's been the target of this, not just watching the attacks on Erica, which have been absolutely disgusting and evil, but you've also been a target of these attacks. How do you work through this? Because as someone who's watching this happening, I'm appalled, obviously. But you, watching your responses, you lead with grace and forgiveness, while also being able to say, this is unacceptable and needs to stop. I mean, what is your advice to those who are watching this in horror at what's happening to keep the faith that this is going to work out the way that it should?
Right. Well, I think understanding what's going on is important. Candace claims to be a Christian. She should know that Jesus and the apostles called Satan a murderer, liar, accuser, and slanderer who seeks to steal, kill, and destroy. Notice on 9/10, Katie, we had a murder. What have we had pretty much since then? Lies, accusations, and slander, seeking to steal, kill, and destroy. So it doesn't surprise me at all. I'm not surprised by it. I know what's going on here. These are demonic attacks, whether Candace knows it or not. And I have nothing personally against Candace. I actually pray for Candace. I think she's a marvelous talent. If she could direct her talents toward facts rather than speculation, she could do a lot of good, but she's tearing people up. As you said, I had somebody contact me whose marriage is being destroyed over this. And I told this gentleman, you ought to ask your wife this question: honey, if God forbid somebody murdered me, would you want Candace to treat you like she's treating Erica?
Frank, what does the Bible say about respect and treatment of widows?
It's all over the Bible, as you know, Katie. We're supposed to take care of the fatherless and take care of widows. It's in the Old Testament. It's in the New Testament. And it's not just biblical. It's just common sense. If you're going to accuse a widow of a murder, you better have some really good evidence. And there's no evidence. It's to the contrary. Erica's world has been destroyed by this act. And people, if you're going to say that Erica had something to do with this, I question not only your sanity, but also your grace. You don't have any grace. You are coming after somebody who deserves none of this. Somebody who's had the worst event you could possibly imagine and now has 2 kids that she's bringing up alone. I mean, this is a complete disaster from a human perspective. And since Erica is a Christian, she knows that there's going to be a future, that her separation from Charlie is temporary. Her reunion with him will be for eternity.
Frank, as you mentioned, the deception has, it's dividing Americans, it's dividing marriages. What is your advice to the man who wrote you that letter saying, how can I get to a point where this is not invading one of the most sacred things that we have, which is our relationship with our husband or our wife?
I actually gave him 37 questions to ask Katie. I don't know if any of them will work, but I did a whole podcast on it. The I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist podcast, so people can see it there. Also, a lot of prayer would help, but simply asking questions like I just asked. And another question to ask is, are you following personalities or are you following evidence? Because in order to achieve justice, you need evidence, not speculation. We do not convict people on speculation. We need evidence. And we haven't seen any evidence other than the evidence pointing to Tyler Robinson.